that Haaland triple captaincy absolutely failed.
It didn't fail, it was just really unlucky, which sometimes happens in FPL and you just have to accept it.
Luck schmuck, it failed.
So what am I supposed to do now? Sell Haaland? Like, would you?
On wildcard, maybe Gabriel could be out for a while, so I'm thinking if I was to sell him, I'd probably go for...
And this is my wildcard team for Gameweek 10. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Stick to FPL podcast. This time, the Gameweek 10 Halloween special, because it is a very spooky game week indeed, particularly if you are Eric Ten Hag and you no longer have a job. Very frightening indeed. Spider in the background, just randomly appearing for us. I hope there's no one out there with arachnophobia or that might have really spooked you out. And if you're an audio listener, well, you're not getting the whole thing today.
You are missing out. If you're an audio listener, get yourself on YouTube.
Yep, or Spotify. Or Spotify as well.
Spotify.
Videos.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Anyway, I'm here today with my good friend Sim. How are you, Sim?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling spooky. I've had a bad game week and it's in the theme.
Yeah.
I did it. It was like my FPL team is putting on a costume of a bad game week.
Okay, but it was a frightening game week for you, for sure. Yeah. Okay, well, I would argue that this coming game week is meant to be the scarier one. So could things get from bad to worse?
Not for my team.
Really?
Yeah.
You're already rock bottom.
We were just pretending.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
But this week we'll be fine.
Good stuff. Well, I thought because we've got a Halloween special this game week, last week, I assigned you the task of buying me a Halloween costume.
I think we are forgetting our lovely friends.
Oh, our good friends, our very special friends over at Fantasy Football Hub.
Oh, there they are.
Hey, guys, if you haven't checked out Fantasy Football Hub already, what are you waiting for? All of the data we use in these podcasts, as well as a lot of the screenshots, if you're watching on video form, are all from Fantasy Football Hub and their amazing array of tools. And you can get free access to the whole shebang of Fantasy Football Hub right now by accessing a free trial, full access. Just use the link in the description, in the link tree. You know where to find it by now, guys. Get involved. It is top stuff that we love over here at Stick to FPL. But anyway, as I was saying, we've got some costumes. We do. You brought me a costume, right?
I brought you a costume and you brought me a costume.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a reveal to see who's got. Like, by the way, guys, we don't know what costume each other have got, but we just said the theme should be football, FPL, or podcast related, this podcast specifically related in some capacity. So I reckon we go and get some costumes on, trade costumes and see what we're looking like.
Let's do it.
Okay.
We'll be back.
I'm so scared. Oh my God. I don't even know what I look like, by the way. Do you know what you look like?
I don't know. What is this meant to be? I'm a duck wearing feathers and a balaclava. I'm the most violent duck.
Yeah, possibly. Okay.
I can't even drink my water. Oh my God.
Right.
Okay.
Well, if you're watching on video, you will already know exactly what we look like right now. But yeah, if you are on audio, have a look on the Instagram at SticksFPL. We'll post some photos there because we are currently dressed up. Now, I'm assuming I'm a referee.
You are the most terrifying person any Arsenal fan can see.
Yep.
A Premier League referee. And you are the pinnacle of performance, as your t-shirt says.
Oh, excellent. It says performance.
It says pinnacle.
It says pinnacle right there.
Yeah.
Right. And
what am I?
I've got a red card ready to show it to the Arsenal players, I assume.
Yeah, you just skip the yellow and just go straight to the red.
Yeah.
And you got a little pencil and a book there. So
all right,
you
so I can make some notes on.
Of course.
Well,
and don't forget.
Yeah.
The lovely iPad.
Okay. Did that come out of the Stick to FPL budget? You bought an iPad, did you?
I bought an iPad with the Stick to FPL budget. And
okay.
This is why it doesn't turn on.
Right.
But when it does turn on, you can go to the FPL app. Right.
Brilliant. Okay. All right, so I'm a referee. Brilliant. I'll be throwing out some red cards throughout the show. Don't you worry about that. And I suppose you're wondering what you're meant to be.
Well, I mean, the only thing I can think
Yeah.
is, well, obviously it's a duck, right?
Well, describe for the audio listeners what you're wearing right now?
I'm wearing a t-shirt with a duck on it. I'm wearing a ski mask with obviously eyes and mouth cut out.
By the way, I added those feathers myself.
I can tell because they're absolutely spiking my hair. And I've got feathers poking halfway into my head here.
Yeah.
And I've obviously got the quack nose.
Yeah.
And I'm presuming I'm ducking points because there's points in my head.
That's a good guess. It's a really good guess, but you are wrong. You're a goose.
What kind of goose?
What?
What have I got, a duck's nose?
Like, geese and ducks have similar noses, to be fair. But they are real goose feathers in your hair right now that you've got.
Oh, are these real geese feathers?
Yeah, real geese feathers. So,
Wow.
because a couple of episodes ago, I remember you saying that you advised people at home to play FPL like a goose.
Be free.
Yes.
Play FPL like a goose.
Play FPL like a goose.
Like a goose.
How does it... Go on.
Because a goose does what it wants. They fly free. I guess goose don't fly, but they...
Yes, they do.
Can goose fly?
Yes. This is your analogy.
Okay, well, there you go then. Fly like a goose. And that's how you should be playing FPL. Listen, I'm going to put this down and I might even have to...
You can roll the balaclava
roll
up.
the balaclava up.
Yeah, wear it as a hat. But maybe... I think you should still probably wear the beak over your nose.
Okay, we'll see what we can do about the beak.
That will do. That's fine. You still look like a goose. That is absolutely amazing.
So I have to tell you a story. So in ordering this outfit for you, there was an outfit that I actually ordered last week.
Yeah.
Turns out that outfit either didn't arrive on time or I got scammed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The website no longer operates.
Oh, dear.
And when I tried to follow it up today, there's no phone call. I emailed them, nobody answered. It was first class delivery that I ordered last week.
Yeah.
So it should have been here by now. But yeah, so that didn't work out. So I'm like, today, oh my God, I need to go find an outfit.
Wait, so did you run to like the local sports shop? How did you find a red card at this short notice?
I'm resourceful with limited time.
Wow, fair play.
Yeah, the pencil is very sharp.
Okay, I'll be aware of that. But no, this is brilliant. I think I look great. I think I'd make a great referee. And I think you make a great goose as well.
Give him a bit of the whistle.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there's a whistle as well. Forgot to say that. Yeah, okay. Right, that's it. Any more lip from you, and you'll be in the book, my friend. One more, last warning, final warning. Oh, well. Anyway, we should probably talk about some FPL today, shouldn't we?
It is an FPL show indeed.
Yeah, it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way, but I mean, usually we keep things on topic. It's quite hard to concentrate though when we're dressed like this.
I'm a goose. I'm a duck goose.
Oh, you are a goose.
Let's talk about Haaland.
Okay, fine. Erling Haaland. Let's dissect the triple captain first of all, because I did end up triple captaining him.
You triple captain this week?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I did. I think it does need dissecting a little bit because obviously it was a major fail. Well, okay, maybe not major fail, but like it was a fail.
6 point triple captain is a fail.
It is a fail.
Yeah.
Oh, not a major fail though. I've seen worse. I've seen people triple captaining like 1 pointers.
Fair
in
enough,
recent
fair
seasons.
enough. But you'd be hurt from a 6 point triple.
And I am hurt from it. I mean, that's like, if you had a midfielder on a double game week and they blanked in both games, but got the clean sheet point in each game.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's essentially the same amount of points. No bonus points. But what was crazy in game week 9 is Haaland had the best opportunities to score that he's had all season. And, I think it's something like the third highest XG he's generated in a single game since signing for Man City, which is absolutely insane. 2.33 XG. That was the best of any player in game week 9. 8 shots, 4 big chances. Again, both of those stats higher than any other player in the game week. 13.55 expected points.
Expected.
Now so what that is, it's based on your actions on the pitch, not the outcome, but like your XG added to your expected assist, added to how many bonus points you would be expected to get if you did achieve your level. So he should have got around 13 to 14 points if he was just an average footballer putting away the chances.
The XG misses the miss kicks and stuff as well, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, it's the opportunities. He had 2 open goals that he missed, both of them. Like, you think of, like, any player in the world that you'd want in those situations to finish those chances, and you choose this guy every time.
Yeah.
So I admit it was a failure of a triple captain, but my word, do I feel unlucky.
Yeah.
And I think I should feel a bit unlucky.
No, it was a rough one, and I think even in hindsight, if you saw those figures, didn't see the points, you do it.
If someone told me that Haaland was going to get 2.33 XG in game week 9, I would be like, yes, I will 100% triple captain him. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and you know what? I'm pretty sure his XG in game week 2, when everyone else did it, was like
1.7-ish, I think.
So, I mean, to be fair, that was pretty high as well then. But it's very unfortunate. And I think sometimes these things happen, and at least you got the goal. I think that's what you got.
Yes,
you got, because you could be sat there looking at 6 points for your triple captain in total, and right now you've got 18. So it's not the end of the world. You got 6 points. What? I think I outscore you by 11.
Yeah,
it's not that big of a loss.
It's not the end of the world, and like and this sounds like cope, like so bad.
Oh, of course it is.
And yeah, of course it is cope. And I know there will be people who, of course, if your rivals triple captain someone and you didn't do it, of course you are gonna laugh and have some banter about that. That is what FPL should be about. But if we're just speaking totally like banter aside, completely rationally, like a triple captain chip is like by far the weakest chip. You make something like 500-600 selections of players in your over the course of the season. This is just one extra player's worth of points in a way. So it's minor, but it still hurts. It still hurts.
I get you. Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. It's just a difficult situation. It is what it is. Yeah, you just gotta live with it. It's one of those situations. He should have scored more in every other scenario he does, but this time he didn't.
Indeed. Okay, well, I mean, from Haaland last game week to maybe Haaland in the future, I think a lot of people have now had enough of him completely and are thinking, do we actually need to remove this player from our teams entirely? Right, so moving from Haaland last game week to Haaland this game week, because I think a lot of people are thinking about selling him now because he has been disappointing over the past 4 game weeks. I mean, particularly game weeks, I guess, 6, 7, 8, blanking. Game week 9, I mean, to be fair, doing everything right but the points getting bit, which is, of course, the important bit. And people have had enough. And I do want to just quickly say Haaland's numbers before we kind of rush into anything here throughout the season. So if we look at those attacking numbers, 43 shots, which is the most of any Premier League player this season, as is his shots on target, 27, 39 shots in the box, again, highest, 14 big chances, again, highest of any player, 8.67 XG, highest of any player. And this is by some considerable margin as well. His numbers are significantly better than anyone else's in the Premier League.
The Haaland discussion, right? It's easy to frame it as, okay, yeah, this is the player who gets the most points. He's the player who produces the best numbers. I think that's like the glaring fact that's always going to be there. He's always like, he will blank and put up these numbers. There's 2 issues for me. The first is, if Haaland matches his data, he's not worth it for the money. Haaland's only worth it when he's smashing through his data, bagging braces and hat-tricks every other week.
Like he did it kind of earlier on in the season.
Earlier on in the season was like crazy. But if what happened earlier on in the season was done throughout this entire period, it would have been okay to a certain extent. It's the fact that going on barren runs obviously hurts, but also scoring 6 to 9 points just doesn't work. He can put up 1 XG every single game, score 1 goal every game, and he's just not going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Because the money is very high, and you can get a lot more for that in other positions.
Yeah, but you can easily find players for 5.5 to 6.5 million who are capable of getting these 6 to 9 pointers each week, right?
Yeah. So for me, I think the discussion on selling Haaland is about, okay, do we suddenly see a Haaland that is going to jump and start hitting these 12, 13 pointers every week, every other week? In my opinion, we haven't seen much to say that beyond what happened in game week 9, where he obviously should have done that. But it's a Southampton fixture, and like a lot of people are expecting it, and that's why the triple captain was used so much. for me, I think if I was wildcarding this week, he would not be on it.
I think I agree. Yeah.
Just because of the significant amount of play. You can get Salah, Palmer, Saka, Watkins, Trent in a draft. Easy. And you can't do anything near that with Haaland in your team. You have to pick 2 if you have Haaland in your team. So for me, if you're wildcarding, he's a sell. If you're actually making a transfer, it becomes a lot trickier because who can you get to in time to make it worthwhile? How much of that money can you realistically spend without taking silly hits?
Well, if you have 2 free transfers, there's always like the possibility of taking a cheap midfielder like I don't know, Smith Rowe, Semenyo, Rodgers, whoever you have right now, or maybe someone that you don't like in midfield. Maybe even a 4.5 million midfielder if you have them, upgrading them to a Salah and downgrading your Haaland to like a cheap forward, which we will cover later, like a Jimenez or a Cunha or someone like that. That's a possibility if you have 2 frees.
I hear you. I think the risk of doing that, the way you balance out the risk of not having Haaland for me is by having at least 3 of Son, Saka, Palmer, Salah.
I agree.
Right? Watkins included as well. And the only way to do that, you can't do that with 2 transfers. Even like if you own Haaland, you only have one of those other midfielders, right? Most of the time.
Probably, yeah.
If you're sat there looking at Palmer and Saka in your team and Haaland, then yeah, you can do that 2 transfer move. But most of the time you can't do that. And it's too risky to just say, okay, I'm hoping Salah and one other midfielder premium bail me out against Haaland. Because he drops a 17-pointer. That's 34 points that people are getting on captaincy. It's hard to make up. And he can do that anytime.
Yeah. And there's nothing, even though he has blanked recently, there's nothing to say that he can't suddenly do what he was doing earlier on in the season. That could happen at any moment.
Yeah.
He could start doing those numbers again.
Like, we're seeing high XGs here. We've seen him score hat-tricks of like 0.5 XG. Like, Haaland outperforming his data is when he's valuable. And he can do that at any moment. And it's not as easy as just saying, okay, De Bruyne's not there, Rodgers not there, Haaland's not going to score.
Yeah.
But, like, what's your appetite, basically?
But De Bruyne will be back within the next week or so. So that's going to potentially... I think a lot of people will think this is a very simple decision. Haaland is very expensive and he's not scored any FPL points recently. But this is one that can easily bite you on the bum. This could easily go wrong. And there's a very good chance it will.
Very good chance, probably a push, but there's a good chance. There's a decent chance.
Yeah, it's a chance worth considering. And also, you have to consider that even if in our little bubble, it feels like everyone is selling Haaland, there's no way Haaland is dropping. What's he at now for total ownership? 73% at time of recording. In a worst case scenario where it feels like everyone is ditching Haaland, he's going to go down to 60-65% owned.
Yeah.
So you're still competing
against most of the game.
Of the vast majority of the other managers in FPL who will keep him. So that there's a risk there as well. But I definitely take your point. Like if you're replacing Haaland with 2 other premiums and spreading the funds like that, then of course that is going to really help in competing with what Haaland can and will at some point produce.
Yeah. I guess the good thing for Haaland sellers is his next 2 fixtures are away games. He then plays Spurs. He then plays Liverpool. He then plays Forest.
Yep.
Like,
good memory, by the way. We've not even got a graphic on screen. How do you remember all of his fixtures?
Come on, man. TikToker.
Fine.
So, like, it feels like a decent time. Because my thing with Haaland gambling against is I am happy to gamble against Haaland in any away game that's up against a top half team.
Okay. Like Bournemouth and Brighton in the next 2.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like I can't sell him this week just because of how my team is set up, but it's something that I would definitely be considering. I mean, I might be wildcarding. So if I wildcard, I'll be selling him. But I said that last week. If I did the team that I had on my wildcard draft, I would have had like 90 points this week.
Really?
Yeah. My wildcard draft was insane. I had Palmer, I had Son in it, but I would have transferred Son to Saka, obviously, because the news came out. Palmer, Saka, Salah, Ryan Nori, Gvardiol, Rico Lewis. It was just insane.
Wow. Damn.
It was insane.
That's rough, man.
And Burmo, I would have captained. Oh, my God.
Who would you have captained?
Burmo.
Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably looked like the second best captain of the week, to be fair. So I don't blame you there at all, really. Yeah. Oh, that is unfortunate. But yeah, no, I definitely see what you mean. The one small thing I would say over the next 2 fixtures, obviously they're away games against Bournemouth and Brighton. But I think a lot of the time where Haaland has struggled was against those kind of much deeper block teams. And I do see Bournemouth and Brighton as slightly more open teams that aren't just going to sit back and have that inferiority complex against Man City in the same way as maybe some of the other recent opponents have had. Brighton are also missing Dunk now. He's going to be out for a month. So can it wait? Is it, if you are selling Haaland, does it have to be done now? Could you maybe bank an extra free transfer and then go into next game week or the week after and then make a big switcheroo using all of your banked free transfers to reinvest that money from selling Haaland? I don't think he's a must sell now, but I totally get it. I get why people are selling. I understand.
Yeah. That's a good point, and I hear that.
Okay.
On wildcard, I'd still risk it though.
Yeah, no, I think on wildcard, I would probably go with that. But like you said, when you're on wildcard, you have that ability to just spread the funds as much as you want. I've got a wildcard draft for us, by the way. I'm keen to get your opinion on it, actually. I think it's pretty nice. Right, let's move on to kind of this similar topic, I suppose, and that's the top scoring players of the season so far. Because one thing that has become painfully obvious is that there is a fairly big gulf between the premium players who are scoring huge points and kind of the rest. So if we look at the top scoring players so far this season, we have Salah on 84 points, Palmer on 79, Haaland on 75, Mbeumo 78, and then Saka 63. Then we've got players like Luis Diaz, who has obviously got some rotation problems now, I suppose. And then, we've got a bit of a drop-off here of a few players that have done well so far, particularly in the forward areas, Wood, Jackson, Welbeck, Watkins. Then after that, I mean, it's just a mess of a bunch of players scoring about 40 points so far this season, which is half the amount of Salah's and Palmer's.
Yeah. I guess the drop is a lot more gradual than you'd think, though. Do you not think?
Between the very top,
like you get from Haaland, you get from Salah and Palmer to Haaland, and you're losing 9 points, and then Mbeumo and Saka are basically there.
Yeah.
Luis Diaz again is basically there with Saka.
Yeah, but it's difficult to still put Luis Diaz in the same conversation now because he got all his points at the beginning of the season, really.
Yeah. But I mean, you're right though. This shows. I mean, 5 of the top. Excuse me, don't know how to count anymore.
4 of the top 5.
4 of the top 5 are premium players.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what you want to see ideally. And this is why it makes it more sort of stomachable when people think about selling Haaland. But this conversation only works over a 9-game week period.
Yeah.
Over the first 5 game weeks, this looks stupid in Haaland's favour. Mm-hmm. And then over the last 4 game weeks, it looks very bad for Haaland. So it depends when you catch him. Like imagine Haaland goes on a crazy run now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the good thing is Salah and Palmer have been consistent, and Saka again, consistency king. So you're hoping that those 3 in combination, alongside the likes of Mbeumo, maybe Jackson, maybe Welbeck, maybe Watkins, can push you over the line if Haaland starts dropping 17 pointers, and you have to get your captain right.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the larger point here is that you kind of do need to have 3 of these players now. 2 is no longer enough. Because if you've got, instead of a Palmer, you've got like a Smith Rowe or someone, you were talking about, the Palmer's and Salah's scoring double, triple the amount of points of a Smith Rowe, which is a crazy difference. So yeah, it's going to be increasingly important to try and find a way of getting a lot of these expensive players in our team and finding some cheap players as well.
Praises to Mbeumo though.
Oh yeah, massively.
Absolute machine.
Yeah.
So he's the cheapest on this list up until we reach Chris Wood.
Yep.
By some distance.
Yeah. So Mbeumo is competing with the likes of Saka and almost competing with Haaland at this point, which is quite crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, is why we speak about Mbeumo as such an essential player in FPL. He has become that guy, and his price is just going up and up and up every single game week. I mean, what did he start off as? 7 million.
Yeah.
He's at 7.7 now, I think. Absolutely mad.
You picked him as a differential.
Yeah, and I picked him as a differential all those weeks ago. He was a differential at one point. And now he's at 37% owned. Crazy.
Quack, quack.
Quack indeed. But yeah, speaking of trying to fit these expensive players in, one way to do that is by going cheap in the forward position. And I think this is a topic we covered last game week, but I want to go again to see if any of our minds have changed. So what we've got is the Fantasy Football Hub highest predicted points for forwards under 7 million between game week 10 and 13. And number one on this list is Chris Wood.
Mr. Inevitable.
23.1 predicted points. He was number one pick again last game week with the Hub predictions. So props to anyone who went there. I was so close to going for him. Went for Raul Jimenez in the end.
Me too.
Did you? I was so close to going for Wood. I should have trusted Hub.
You yourself said Wood was the best option.
Yep.
So why did you go for Jimenez?
The reason I went for Jimenez is because of the cheaper price. It opened up a few more options for me later on. And the other reason was because I like Jimenez for a slightly longer period of time than Wood. I think Wood is great for like 3 or 4 game weeks. But Jimenez is better for like 6, 7, 8 game weeks, something like that. So, yeah. I maybe played it a little too safe there and should have just gone for Wood because Wood was the better pick in the immediate term.
Wood was a safe pick.
Yep. He was the right pick.
Yeah.
And I bottled it.
Yeah.
Absolutely bottled it. But that's not to say Raul Jimenez is a bad pick because I thought actually watched the full game at the weekend for him against Everton and I thought he was brilliant. Again, really, really good. Unlucky not to get points from that game. It's not just him being the central guy shooting and stuff. He's also creating for his teammates and creating chances, which is, more avenues to points that I think a lot of the other forwards do lack a bit in the creativity. But anyway, number one pick right now is Wood, followed by Cunha, who we spoke about a little bit last week. Is it time to take him a little bit more seriously now?
We took him seriously I took him seriously last week. We were saying Wolves were buys last week. So Wolves, I had Wolves and Larson in my top 5. And I think you did as well.
Oh, Cunha. Yeah, we both put Cunha and Larson in our top 5 for sure.
So, yeah, for me, though, still third. Still third for me.
Yeah? Who would you put ahead of?
Wood and Jimenez.
Wood might be carrying an injury, by the way, but I think we need to wait and hear more on that one.
Yeah. The streets were saying it was a knock.
Yeah.
So Wood should be fine. But presuming Wood is fine, I still slightly prefer Jimenez. Maybe that's a bit crazy to say for me, but fixture-wise, it just Wood's points have been done. Like he scored 3 in the last 2. He probably won't continue at that rate. I'm hoping he doesn't, but I think Jimenez can definitely continue to match that. And even if he doesn't, Jimenez can match it over a longer period, and it just means that you don't have to make a transfer there.
Yep.
So for me, it would be Jimenez, Wood, and then Cunha, and then Wissa.
Okay.
Get Dominic Calvert-Lewin out of my screen.
Yeah, so Calvert-Lewin, so it goes Wood, Cunha, Raul Jimenez, Wissa, and then Calvert-Lewin. And I think this is an example of where data isn't everything. Data is very useful indeed for predicting points, but we also do have to use it with context. And anyone who watches football will know that Calvert-Lewin is a player who will underperform his data because he's not an elite finisher, unfortunately for him. So yes, he's on the list of highest predicted points, but football is played on grass. Unfortunately for him.
Football is played on grass. Speaking of grass, some of the finishes that Wood had recently makes you think that guy is just, he's playing a different football right now.
He is, yeah. He was gifted a goal, to be fair.
The other one was brilliant though.
The first goal,
yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Was it the first goal?
I can't remember. I didn't watch it. I just saw the
One of the goals was amazing.
Yeah.
The other goals was a bit of a gift.
Yeah.
Really good. One thing that is interesting is that Raul's numbers are quite a bit better than Wood's.
Oh, really?
Of this list, he's got the best numbers here. So Raul Jimenez, let's go from game week 4, because that's when he started starting for Fulham this season. The only forward with a higher XG than Raul Jimenez is Haaland. So he's on 3.38 XG, which is about the same as Salah in that period, by the way. 1.11 XA. That's better than Salah.
Wow.
Raul Jimenez is putting up, since game week 4, when he started playing for Fulham again, well, starting the games, he's been putting up better numbers than Salah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's 5.7 million. And he looks brilliant. When you watch him, it's not just data. You watch his football and you think, brilliant. He's on penalties as well, or we think he will be. Everything is... Next fixture against Brentford
Great fixture.
at home.
Great fixture.
Brentford are a terrible defence. They are so open.
They love conceding, but they still win games.
They win games because they score more than the opponent. But
Yeah.
my word, that defence is shocking. Raul Jimenez could have a field day.
Yeah,
That said, Wood has West Ham at home next.
that is field day territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cunha has Crystal Palace at home. Probably the weakest fixture of those three.
I mean, I would disagree. I would say it's up there. Arguably Crystal Palace is better than Brentford.
No. Crystal Palace are on the up. I think the centre
Because they
back.
kept a clean sheet against Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs were terrible.
Come on, Spurs just do Spurs stuff, man.
Yeah.
That was just a game. You got to forget about that game. Crystal Palace are not a good defense right now.
I think genuinely Crystal Palace are on a positive trajectory. They started off the season poorly, but I think because they've had like Chalobah and Lacroix come in, they've started taking some time to bed in a little bit. The defense is getting a little more settled. And I do see Crystal Palace improving. I wouldn't consider them
I don't buy it yet.
fine. And that's fair enough. There hasn't really been enough time to really say that, but I think we've seen consistently that Brentford are a poor defence and that West Ham are a poor defence. At least there are some positives from Palace.
West Ham definitely. Brentford here and there. Like again, you can say this now because of the previous two outcomes, but like Brentford probably have not been a worse statistical defense than Crystal Palace.
Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm very glad you asked.
Like, there's no way that's true.
Well, actually, my internet on my laptop has just died, but when it comes back...
Well, here we go.
What a coincidence.
Fantasy Football Hub have an app. So I will check for you and you can keep the guests entertained.
Okay, I'll keep waffling on. So we do have Wissa and Calvert-Lewin on that screen as well. We have got a second screen of cheap forwards as well to maybe talk about Jamie Vardy, who faces Ipswich next. Ipswich are obviously a pretty poor defence as well. Strand Larson is an interesting pick. Danny Welbeck.
Suddenly just become one of the best strikers in the league.
You know what's crazy? Welbeck, Jimenez, Wood, all of these guys are like 33 years old, 34 years old. Like, what year is this where these strikers are suddenly, back to being the best in the league? Crazy.
Football's back.
Football is back.
Football's back.
Barclays ball. That's what's going on right now. Barclays ball.
None of this woke nonsense. None of this false nine stuff.
Exactly.
We got big men up top.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Welbeck does have some god-awful fixtures in the next two. Liverpool and City back-to-back. So you're probably not going to go there immediately, but one to consider soon. Evan Nilsson's here and Nketiah's here as well, but I don't think we need to talk about those guys too much. I do have the data, by the way. I don't know if you've got it as well.
I also have the data. Which stat metric would you like to go by?
I would like non-penalty expected goals against, which on the stat type should be under defensive.
Okay, I don't have that. I've only got key stats. Okay, let me get defensive. There we go.
You need to
non-penalty expected goals against.
Yeah.
And would you look at that? Brentford are the worst out of Brentford, West Ham, and Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Well, you are correct.
I thought I might be. To be fair, I spend so much time on the Fantasy Football Hub Opta-Stats page. Honestly, half of my life is just on the Opta-Stats tool that they have. And this is why I gas up Fantasy Football Hub so much, because I genuinely, it's half of my life is on that website. I swear. Yeah. So, okay. Our top five forwards are probably similar as they were last week.
Welbeck is just the fixtures are so bad, right?
Yeah, we can't include Welbeck. But, I mean, certainly, if you're looking for a new forward, I think I'd go for Raul Jimenez first. Now that Wood has got that Leicester fixture out the way, as each week passes, Wood becomes a slightly worse option.
Yeah.
Still a good option.
He's got Villa next?
He's got, this game week?
Yeah.
He faces West Ham.
Oh, you said West Ham. Okay,
Yeah.
My bad.
But then after that, I think it gets a little bit techier.
Arsenal's coming up soon as well.
So it's Newcastle, Arsenal after that. Then Ipswich at home, which is nice. But then Man City away, Man United away, Aston Villa.
Don't say Man United and Aston Villa like that.
Aston Villa, if you check today the data properly, you'll see Aston Villa are number 2 on that list.
Second
best.
I will not believe any data about Aston Villa. That defense sucks.
It's not that bad.
That defense sucks.
They've been unlucky.
It's only good in Champions League.
Fair enough.
Where apparently they just keep clean sheets against Brighton. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Okay, fine. I don't know if you can see this. This is pretty small.
I can.
You can read that?
Yeah.
Eyesight's better than mine.
2020 vision.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Mine is not. So these are defenders. So obviously this week, the big news was that Gabriel picked up what looked like a pretty nasty injury.
Streets saying MCL.
Street saying MCL. Well, the good thing is that Arteta will tell us exactly what's wrong with him in his press conference.
Love honest managers, and this is why we really like Arteta.
Yeah. He's the FPL manager's dream is Arteta always telling the exact truth. I don't know. Like, for an FPL manager, the fact that this guy is hiding players from training photos to try and get that tiny advantage over oppositions, it's like, I get it from a footballing point of view, but he is like an FPL manager's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
This guy.
He learned from the best. Not Mikel Arteta. He learned from Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe, another famous press conference liar.
Liar.
Call it what it is.
There's no funny ways around it. He lies. He just lies. So shout out you, Eddie Howe.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately with Gabriel, he could have like a very obvious and serious injury. We will not find out about it.
Yeah.
We simply won't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people are thinking MCL at the moment, so we could, I think, at the very least, 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a couple of weeks minimum. A slightly worse strain would be, what, a month or two?
4 to 6, yeah.
Yeah. The fact that he did manage to carry on playing for a little bit maybe suggests that it's not super severe.
Yeah.
But we have to speculate at this point. That's all we can do. I think he is possibly still worth selling at this moment. And if you are looking for a replacement, I've put a bunch of players in a list that I would be considering, like at least a little bit considering. So I've put on here Alexander-Arnold, Gvardiol, Lewis, Digne, Tete, Robinson, Alex Moreno, who honestly could be any Nottingham Forest defender, Timber, Colwill, Pinnock, Aït-Nouri, Mikolenko, and Davis. Some of these are not such great options. Some of them are better options. My biggest issue, and I feel like I say this every week, is there is very few good defenders to pick from.
Gvardiol's decent, but the fixtures aren't brilliant. You can't keep counting on the goals.
Yep.
Rico Lewis could actually be one of the best options here, but with Champions League, how much more are we going to keep seeing him play?
Yep.
By the way, started 8 out of 9 games so far this season. Told you so. Rico Lewis is looking good from a minutes perspective.
At the moment.
But that risk is always there. Digne, Tete just not really on the cards.
Digne's got poor fixtures.
Yeah.
Fulham defense, I mean, it's okay, and the attacking data is okay for them, but it's nothing crazy. Nottingham Forest have got good defensive data. We'll keep an occasional clean sheet, but we are looking at 1 clean sheet every 3 games from them. There really isn't much out there.
Well, I mean, you're not buying like 2 clean sheets out of every 3 games.
Well, maybe 1 every other game week would be nice. For Jesus Christ. The spider just crawled across the back of the screen again. Wow. That sure is something.
Excuse me.
Again, audio listeners have no idea what just happened, but yeah.
Audio listeners, just...
Should make some spider noises for
There we go. But yeah, I mean, what game week range is this expected points graph looking at?
This is expected points so far this season per start.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this just kind of combines all attacking and defensive data into a rough guide of how good a player's been so far this season. It's a very rough guide.
So I was going to say, it's interesting for Trent to be top.
Well, it's no surprise that Trent is top because his expected assists data and his creative data is so good.
But like moving forward, you're not expecting many clean sheets for Liverpool.
Why not?
Fixtures are tricky.
Yeah, but there are some good nuggets in there, and they've been comfortably the best defence in the Premier League.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That was easy.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't force Trent out, but I wouldn't buy him.
No?
No.
I just threw him in there. I know he's a bit more expensive, but in terms of defenders we should at least consider, I guess he's in the conversation.
Yeah. This hat is not.
The hat is not hatting. It's a real tough one out there. And if you do have Gabriel, and you have Gabriel, don't you?
I do have Gabriel.
So we'll be getting your thoughts a little bit later.
Do you have Gabriel?
I don't know. I've never had any Arsenal defensive assets this entire season.
I mean, the glaring great option is at the bottom of this list.
Davis?
No.
Mikolenko?
No.
Ait-Nouri?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Gavardio and Ait-Nouri are your two obvious ones, I think.
Yeah.
If you have one of them, pick the other. If you have
Basically.
neither of them, who would you go for? If you had neither Gavardio or Ait-Nouri, which one would you prioritize?
I'd go for the saving. I'd go for Ait-Nouri.
Yeah, save some money, splash it elsewhere.
Yeah. Vardio's great, but Ait-Nouri is scoring more, first of all. But second of all, City's fixtures over the next 5 are just very concedable.
But they're better. They're a better defense,
They are.
and
but
City can keep clean sheets in even tough games, and they have done, and they will do in the future.
They've kept, 2 clean sheets this season?
Yeah,
Did they keep a clean sheet against Wolves? No, they didn't, right?
no.
So they kept 2 clean sheets this season. One of them was against Southampton.
The other was against Chelsea. See what I mean?
Fair enough. But regardless, City are the kind of defense that concede occasionally.
Yeah,
And
but
if, assuming over the next 5, they'll concede at least in 3 of them.
all right.
I would rather go for Ait-Nouri, who I think probably will match Vardiol in attacking returns and sneak in maybe 1 less clean sheet over that 5. And for that, 1 million saving? 1.5 million saving?
Yeah.
You lose out on like 4 points. I'll take that.
Yeah, maybe. But, Bournemouth up next for City, then Brighton, Spurs, who just failed to score against Palace.
Spurs are going to score against Man City.
Liverpool, yeah, they always do, to be fair.
Yeah.
And then Forest at home. I think there are, and then Palace away after that. And to be fair, the fixtures really get good for City from 18 onwards.
Yeah.
And I think if you are selling Haaland, for example, I would be looking to jump back on probably around 18.
Also, Vardiol can be benched for Ake.
That's a good point. But, I mean, Gavardio has been brilliant.
He has, but Ake is just not going to not play. Ake is brilliant also.
I don't know. I feel like Ake plays the Champions League games and Gavardio plays the Premier League games for the time being.
What, so you don't play your best player in Champions League football?
Well, not until the next round, no. The knockouts.
There's a lot to go. They didn't they draw their first game? They're still in the bit where you have to play a playoff. They've got 7 points.
Wow.
So like they're not like safe.
Okay.
There's still 5 games to go. I think they still continue playing their best team. You can't just be like, okay, go on then stick Ake out there. Like
Fair point.
Ake's good, but I think he'll play his first 11. I think he'll probably rotate against like Brighton or something.
I mean, there's a possibility. Yeah. I would maybe speculate that Lewis would be a similar potential casualty.
But exactly. That's the issue. But Lewis is just so important to the system right now.
But so is Gavardio.
Arguably Gavardio is too. Yeah. So it's right now we haven't seen much rotation from them because of that reason. But how much longer can that go? Because everyone will get rotated
at some point. Yeah, it's the Pep way. So Ait-Nouri, we're saying the best Gabriel replacement is Ait-Nouri. Yeah, I think I probably agree with you. To be honest, I would still have a strongly consider Gavardio, but yeah, Ait-Nouri, I'm cool with that. Right, next up, I've made an anti-wildcard team. Oh, I love making these.
How many of my players are on here?
So this is what I like to make. On potential wildcard weeks, I like to build a team of terrible picks. Well, I mean, players that you wouldn't want to have in your team right now. And if you find yourself with a lot of these players, then that may be a sign that you need to show a red card to your current team and play that wildcard. So we've got Alisson and Flecken in goal. Maybe Flecken's a bit harsh. I know a lot of people have Flecken, but I really don't rate the Brentford defence. And even in the easy fixtures, Brentford are the easy fixture. In defence, we've got Robertson, who's looked a bit off it. Dunk, who we know is going to be out for quite some time now. 4 weeks we're looking at. Mazraoui, potential injury there and poor fixtures. Konsa, really poor fixtures over the next 4. Gabriel, injury.
Wait.
What? What's wrong with that?
Is that fixture right?
What, on screen?
Are United playing Chelsea this week?
Is that the wrong fixtures?
No. Maybe you're right.
No, that is the right fixtures. Yes, United are playing Chelsea.
Oh, okay. No, you said poor fixtures. It's Mazraoui after Chelsea plays Leicester.
No,
Ipswich and Everton.
Konsa has the bad fixtures.
Oh, okay. My mistake. I thought you said Mazraoui poor fixtures. But
Oh, yeah, he also does have a poor fixture against Chelsea.
Fixtures, plural. He has the Chelsea fixture and then he has 3 really good fixtures.
Is he? Yeah. Well, every fixture's a bad fixture for Man United. Let's be...
New manager bounce.
Leicester, Ipswich, Everton after that. But I mean, if he's injured, it's kind of irrelevant. And Luke Shaw could be back as early as midweek.
Yeah.
So, like, there's many reasons to sell Mazraoui.
Okay.
And a lot of people have him. Anyway, moving on into the midfield, anti-wildcard players. Luis Diaz, rotation risk. Foden just looked off it. I know some people took a punt there for the last 2 game weeks. Hasn't paid off. Probably just best to cut your losses and move him on. Diogo Jota, McNeil potential injury. If he's fit, then McNeil can be forgotten about. He can be ignored from this list. Gordon, injured / poor fixtures. Got Arsenal up next. And up front, Havertz, not good value for money right now. Solanke, just not hitting that form at all that we expected from him. And Calvert-Lewin, who, despite the good fixtures, has been, again, a disappointing pick. So there's a lot of players in here. If I had 4 or 5 of these players, I would be looking at my team and thinking, yeah, it might be time to hit the refresh button. How many of you got Sim?
I haven't got that many.
No?
I've got Gabriel and I've got Solanke.
Yeah, because you sold Gordon, didn't you?
I sold Gordon. I sold Calvert-Lewin. I sold Jota.
Yeah, so you have had a lot of these players recently, but you've managed to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So if you had kept these players, then it might have been wildcard time for you.
If I had kept these players, I'd probably stop playing FPL.
I'd have to find a new co-host. Who would I find?
Oh, mate, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the kind of players. If you have a lot of these players, I would maybe be looking to wildcard if you haven't already, of course. If you've wildcarded a lot of these players
You know what you should have done? You should have put Haaland on that team.
That's the thing. I thought about putting Haaland in this team, but it's kind of like, if you have Haaland, he's not like a must transfer out player.
Come on. Calvert-Lewin is not a must sell before Southampton. Solanke's not a must sell before Villa. Havertz is not a must sell before Newcastle.
Okay, I get your point.
It's in combination.
Yeah, but Haaland should be included in this list in the sense that if you do have a wild card and you have Haaland, a wild card is a great opportunity to redistribute those funds.
Yeah. Heard.
Right. Wildcard draft for you. I love this wildcard draft, by the way. So much so, it's made me think about wildcarding, even though I don't really think I need to. But anyway, in goal, by the way, guys, on Fantasy Football Hub, this is a 99% team rating. That's a big boy score. Yeah. And this team costs 100.1 million. So most of you guys listening can probably afford something even stronger than this. But I like to build teams with a low budget, and then we can kind of build off that. So in goal, we've got Sells. In defence, Alexander-Arnold, Gvardiol, and Ait Nouri. In midfield, Salah, Palmer, Saka, and Mbeumo. What a midfield. What a midfield. Up front, Raul Jimenez, Cunha, and Wood. Not sure I love the 3 kind of cheap forwards. I think if you have a little bit more money, I would potentially look at doing Wood to Jackson in Game Week 12. So I'd probably do something like that. But maybe, first of all, take West Ham and Newcastle at home for Wood and then switch him to Jackson after that, if you have the money. And then on the bench, Fabianski, 4 million, potentially playing goalkeeper. Semenyo, who I know people are kind of down on a little bit at the moment, but after this game week, his fixtures really take a turn for the better. And I think he's a brilliant player, even though he hasn't been getting a point.
He is. The thing is, him or Rodgers, basically.
Yeah.
They're basically similar price now, 5.3, 5.6.
You could even go for Smith Rowe, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I guess. I'd prefer Rodgers or Semenyo, though.
Fair enough. But yeah, that could be your preference. But I've gone for Semenyo. I think he's mine. Mikalenko, 4.3 million, Everton defender. I think Everton are another defence on an upward trajectory, particularly now that Branthwaite is going to be back. And then Vandenberg, 4 million, starting Brentford defender, which doesn't say too much, but I mean, it's better than a 4 million Ipswich or Southampton defender, to be honest.
Yeah. You could very easily do like a Semenyo to a Rodgers to go Wood to Jackson now.
But I think I prefer Wood over the next 2 game weeks if he's available.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Definitely over the next one anyway. And then
So-
after that, it's Arsenal for Jackson anyway. So
Yes.
okay, this is a really good wildcard, and I'd be interested in this. I think if I wildcard, it'd be something very similar to this, and this is very similar to what I was planning on doing last week.
Okay.
And I will tell you the 11 I had for last week because it was just absolutely brutal. So I had Gvardiol, Ait Nouri, Rico Lewis, Palmer,
Son was in the draft, but obviously that would have become Saka, Mo Salah, and Burmo, and then Strand Larson, Watkins, and Jimenez.
Okay, so Strand Larson instead of Cunha. Who do you prefer out of Cunha and Strand Larson?
Cunha.
Even if money is no object.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cunha's a better striker. Like Strand Larson's he's a newbie, right? So his minutes are not as secure, despite him having played recently. But Cunha's a better finisher. Cunha's a better striker.
Yeah.
But
He plays a little bit deeper, but he almost feels more involved a lot of the time. Anyway.
yeah, and obviously Watkins would be interesting here, and the discussion is between Trent and Watkins.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I think I've excluded Watkins because the fixtures over the next 4 are so bad for Villa. So in the next 4, they face Spurs away, Liverpool away, Palace at home, Chelsea away. Oh, there are more spiders appearing on the screen.
Oh my god.
Oh, those are creepy ones.
Oh my god.
So many spiders. It really is Halloween. But yeah, Watkins is there's definitely some argument to have him instead of Trent. But the other issue is there are not many good defenders. So Trent is kind of, he is a decent defender to have in FPL. Even you can argue about his value for money, but he is a solid defender. You could just play every week.
Yeah.
The forward position, there are loads of good options.
Yeah. The final question with this draft is, how do you get back to Haaland? Because you do have to go back eventually, and you don't have a wild card for at least 7 weeks.
Yeah, that is a difficulty. Maybe Trent and Salah out, and then if you've got like a Jackson in there, he would go up to Haaland. So it would take you 3 transfers. You'd have to plan it out. But that's that unless you have Watkins in your team. I mean, you could even take Watkins after the next 4, and then go Watkins after the next 4, and then go to like Haaland after that, maybe
3 transfers minimum.
Yeah,
unless you want to sell, unless you don't, and that's if you're gonna sell Salah and Trent.
Yeah, but then there's an argument to say, well, actually, I quite like having Trent and Salah, and I think they'll score just as many points, if not more, than Haaland. So let's keep with what we got.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to my favourite part of the show, which is Differential of the Week. Oh, what a week. I love this part of the show because it's just hilarious. And Game Week 9, I picked Wissa as my Differential of the Week. Very well done, Dan. 10 points. Good job. Sim picked Rashford. 1 point. 58th minute substitution. Oh my word, this weekend when I was thinking, Wissa's doing really well. Let's check how Sim's differential is doing. He like Man United are still playing, so let's see what's going on there. Oh, he's been substituted at the 58th minute and Sim has yet another 1 point differential. How do you do this? Like, it's actually hilarious at this point. It's like you're cursing every player you pick. You're the poison chalice of differentials. Explain this to me. What? Come on.
I think I figured it out.
What?
I think I figured it out.
Yeah?
So I think what's happening here is there's a combination of hating on me and
Who's hating on you?
the general populace,
Okay, the commenters on the podcast.
including you.
Well, it's kind of deserved.
And it's not even the commenters of the podcast. I think it's just in general the negative energy from haters.
Okay, yep.
Plus, I think I've been cursed.
Right. And I
think I've been cursed. I think genuinely, like from a statistical standpoint, from a mathematical standpoint, from a sociological standpoint, it's actually impossible to pick this many 1-pointers.
It's crazy. You've picked 9 differentials so far this season, and they have totaled 11 points. So you're averaging like 1.1 point per differential.
Stop it, James. I could hear that every time you do it. God,
it's unbelievable.
oh my God, this is it's not on. It's not on, and I've gone for like a little bit more security and points for this week.
Have you indeed? Okay, well let's see what Sim defines as security at this point. Right, talk us through this one. Your differential of the week for Game Week 10.
Ashley Young,
4.5
million, 0.8% owned, playing Southampton away, Everton clean sheet. Give me my 6 points.
You know, this Are you picking like a Southampton attacker on your wildcard this week or something, and you're trying to curse the Everton defense? Is that what's going on here?
There's no cursing involved, I believe, with, these geese feathers.
Yeah.
I've activated the anti-curse. And my man right here, Mr. Young, who is very far from his name, will deliver me the points.
I don't understand. You've had a poor season so far in differential of the week. So your solution is to pick a 45-year-old defender
Who brings the points?
who plays an away fixture against the Southampton team that, despite their defensive weaknesses, can score the occasional goal.
They scored like 4 goals this season.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is Everton. And they're
Everton
playing
are a good defense.
They're
Everton are a good defense.
an improving defense.
Please enlighten us on who's going to haul this week.
Well, I tell you who will outscore Young comfortably, and that is Cunha. See, why don't you do this? Cunha is 3.3% selected. He was right there for the taking, and you've picked Ashley Young. Think about that for a second. Cunha, 6.5 million forward, plays against Crystal Palace at home, 3.3% selected, on penalties, in good form. Slam dunk, more points for Dan.
Okay, this one's a skill issue. Fair enough. Fair enough. This was something I missed. And alas, you probably outscored me again.
Are you trying? Are you even trying? Or is this like comedy?
No, the thing was, genuinely, I've been trying to find high ceilings.
Yeah.
I'm now changing my strategy to high floors. Yeah. And I feel like there's more chance of a Young 6-pointer than there is a Cunha 6-pointer.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, okay. Well, let's move on. Let's do our teams. We'll do mine first because I think I'm boring. And by the way, we've included rank on screen now.
Aha. What? Suddenly when you've overtaken me?
Yeah, that's the exact same week I've overtaken you. No, right. You said last game week, can we start putting ranks on screen from next week? This is next week.
Okay.
So this is completely on you. Your timing is terrible. But I've got a rank now of 900,000, so we've crept into the top 1 million. My team, it genuinely seems to be going up each week. I'm getting above average points every single game week. Really poor start, but we're ticking along nicely, climbing the ranks, which is all you can really ask for in FPL. Henderson got me a nice unexpected clean sheet last week, which is a very nice surprise. Gavardio coming in clutch with the clean sheet and the bonus points as well. And of course, Mbermo smashing it. The unfortunate thing last week is that I benched Smith Rowe for Rodgers, and I don't think I'll be making the same mistake this week. But anyway, going for my team, I will cover that. But going to my team for Game Week 10, Henderson in goal, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson in defence alongside Gavardio. In midfield, we have Palmer and Mbermo, Johnson and Smith Rowe. And then up front, Haaland, Raul Jimenez, and Jamie Vardy against Ipswich, who, by the way, Vardy should have had a penalty last week, so he should have had 2 goals, but he only got 1. Well, I mean, I'll take it still. On the bench, Valdemarson, Rodgers, Ben Johnson, and Harwood Bellis. And the reason why I've got an increased level of confidence in Smith Rowe is even though he has been disappointing in some games recently, it seems like in the tougher games, he doesn't really get forward as much and occupy the same dangerous areas. And I saw when I was watching the game against Everton, he was making a lot more daring runs. He was kind of arriving late in the box often and kind of doing those things that he did in the first few game weeks. So I wonder if he is kind of set up slightly differently depending on the opponent. And in the easier fixtures, we're going to get the Smith Rowe we love. And maybe in the tougher fixtures, then that is a time to bench Smith Rowe. Brentford at home, I think, is a phenomenal fixture. So we're going to go for him instead of Rodgers. And could I bench Johnson against Villa? Maybe. I don't really know who else I bench. I'm not going to bench Vardy against Ipswich.
Yeah, Spurs are at home.
Yeah, it's like if you have a strong squad, you are going to bench good players.
Yeah.
That's just part of the deal.
Yeah.
And when one of your points doesn't play any minutes, sometimes you'll get the good player off your bench, as I've done twice now this season.
I just think trying this rotation stuff with Rodgers and Smith Rowe is tricky. It's tricky because, look how many times people have benched Rodgers points. I benched Smith Rowe points last week. It's a difficult one to call, and I would like to stop playing that game soon. Basically,
Really?
Yeah, because Smith Rowe is brilliant, but Rodgers, I feel like, is the better player and a better FPL asset. And most of the time, you should probably play Rodgers unless there's a big discrepancy in fixture.
I believe there is that this week.
Arguably, there is this week, but I would probably still be concerned about benching Rodgers against Spurs.
I am concerned.
Yeah.
I am concerned about it.
But there's nobody else you can bench.
But it's a nice player to have. It's a nice problem to have.
Yeah. The good thing about having Jimenez means that you could, in theory, bench Smith Rowe just to avoid the double up.
I could, but I just love the fixture.
Yeah.
I really, really do. And I saw some of the chances as well that kind of that Ipswich were getting against Brentford, and I kind of thought, oh, Smith Rowe could probably do quite a good job here, actually. So, yeah, I'm not going to bench Smith Rowe. I'm more likely to bench Johnson than I am Rodgers, to be honest. Than bench Smith Rowe, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to make any transfers. The only way I make a transfer is I think Robertson's dropping and Ait-Nouri is going up. And I might just make the transfer to increase team value. That's about as far as it would go. I actually don't mind. If Rodgers is going to start this, Robertson is going to start this week, I have no problem playing him against Brighton at home, to be honest. But would be looking to remove him shortly after that, I think. I think Robertson is in rotation territory soon with Tsimikas, which is a little bit concerning for me.
Yeah.
Also thinking about potentially wildcarding next week. Not this week, but next week. And getting in some different players. But anyway, let's do your team, because I don't think I'm going to do much with mine this week, barring maybe little transfers. Here's your team. Rough one for you.
It's not looking good. I had a really bad week this week. 44 points, mean red arrow. And I've gone down from 600k to 2 million in 2 game weeks now.
Wow.
So it's been a absolutely brutal ride. -4 last week, which actually paid off. So not the worst in the world. Another awful reminder. Do you remember when I came here on Monday last week and I said I wanted to make 3 transfers, but I've been priced out? Do you remember what those moves were?
Ait-Nouri was one of them.
I was going to sell Trent, buy Ait-Nouri.
Yeah.
I was going to sell Jota, buy Cole Palmer, and I was going to sell Dominic Calvert-Lewin and buy Raul Jimenez. It would have meant I would have had Saka instead of Garnacho and Ait-Nouri instead of Trent. So big old 18-point swing there.
Ooh.
Which is awful. And then obviously the wild card plan kind of really burned there, which is why I'm really tempted to wild card at the moment. And I don't know. I don't want to get into rage transfer territory.
It's difficult because you've got the players I guess you're thinking about removing are Solanke, who has Ipswich, not this week, but the one after.
Yeah.
Garnacho, who after Chelsea has those really nice fixtures.
Well, I just bought Garnacho. I'm not unhappy with Garnacho.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then who else are you going to swap out? Aina would be the kind of player you'd have on a wild card anyway.
I'd probably have Aina regardless. I'd be looking to lose Trent, Haaland, Solanke.
So it's really just
Gabriel.
Haaland doing a restructure.
Yeah. It's the Haaland restructure. I think my team, again, does not look great for this week. But from next week, my team looks really good.
Yeah.
So long as I sort of do Gabriel to Ait-Nouri, maybe Solanke to Jackson, maybe both, and then move from there. It's just, I couldn't tell you what I'm doing this week. I genuinely couldn't. I could do a wild card. If Gabriel's fit, I could roll. Okay, I'm definitely not going to roll. I'm gonna sell one of Gabriel or Solanke, or I'm going to wild card.
Oh, really selling Solanke? Think he's a sell, a straight up sell?
Maybe it's because I've had him for so long.
That's true.
I've had him since Gameweek 1.
I just feel like you've got to give him that Ipswich at home game. Surely.
In that meantime, I guess Jackson doesn't have brilliant fixtures. So yeah, probably will end up, because of the injury, I probably will just end up going Gabriel to Ait-Nouri and then just rocking with it and then moving from there.
Solanke to Jackson in 12 looks good as a potential move. So you could just hold on to Solanke for no other reason than to, sacrifice him for Jackson later down the line.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We shall see.
All right. We shall see indeed. All right. Well, that's all we've got to say for today. So thank you guys for watching. And particularly if you're watching, because, what do you think? I honestly, I think we look brilliant. I'm going to keep this referee costume permanently.
Oh damn! I was gonna ask for the red card back.
Well, do you want it? Oh, you can use this on TikToks, can you? Do you want these for TikToks?
Don't worry, I'm joking.
All right. Well, you can have a yellow card for.
It's a set. You gotta keep it.
All right. Oh well, I'm gonna use these in videos and streams on YouTube.
Nice. Just make sure you tag me, yeah?
What? Tag you in the YouTube video?
In the description.
Tag you in the description.
Like,
nobody reads descriptions of YouTube videos.
people are joining our league.
People are joining our mini league, which we buried in the the YouTube video description. People are still finding it, I suppose. What, about 12 people, by the way? It's not very many. There's nobody reads the video descriptions. This doesn't happen.
You know what? There's a few thousand people who watch this show. Do me a favor and go follow me on Twitter. Yeah.
Why does no one follow you on Twitter?
Because I don't promote it, do I?
No.
I probably should promote it. So give me a follow on Twitter. It's FPL Sim. And for those of you guys in the comments typing my name out with an S, have shame. Have shame. My name is spelled with a C. FPL CIM. Give me a follow on Twitter.
How is anyone supposed to know that, though? Well, is the ghost just... Producer James is having some fun, I think, in the what is that room called?
Studio.
Isn't the whole thing the
Production room.
Yeah, sure. So spooky ghosts appearing on screen. That is actually really quite scary when I see it behind myself. Really is. But anyway, guys, Sim would like you to follow him. You can if you want to. I wouldn't recommend it personally, but
Listen, it's good fun. It's good fun.
But yeah, we would really appreciate it if you did subscribe to the show, whether that's on YouTube or Spotify or whatever. Follow us, subscribe to us. We make TikToks as well. You might enjoy some of those. Everything is at Stick to FPL, all one word, or separate it if you're just doing a regular search. But go ahead and follow us. And you know what? Tell a friend. Tell a friend about Stick to FPL. I mean, we're struggling to keep the lights on in here. We need more followers, and the only way we can do that is we could just do a better show.
Yeah,
we could do a better show.
Yeah, I feel like that's the answer here.
Yeah, but can't we just beg other people to help us without having to do a better show?
No, I feel like we should just do better.
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like today we put some effort in with the costumes and stuff. Maybe
we do a costume every week.
Yeah. Well, that's just going to cost more money. We can't make back because no one's subscribed.
End the show.
Guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Stick to FPL. We'll be back next Tuesday for yet another show. And to finish us off, Sim is going to give the final words of the show.
Normally I prepare for this.
No, you don't. No, you don't normally prepare for this. What you got for us? Dead air.
Quack, quack. Quack, 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 quack.
You're a goose.
Quack, quack.
You're a goose, not a duck.
Quack.
Geese honk.
Beep?
No, that's a car. Forget it. Thank you for watching and listening to Stick to FPL for another week. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.